you have to keep working. You have to accept the reality of the situation, and then you have to keep moving forward and try to change it. So that's the job. That's life. We're looking forward to changing that dynamic.
How do you feel about the challenge ahead?
Glad to face the challenge, and now he's preparing the game. Now he's trying to prepare the game. Tough game against Everton.
It's great to see them all. I had a big relationship with so many of the players and the staff there, and it was good. We had some great times together. Always look forward to seeing them.
Now is not the moment to ask the fans. Now is the moment to deliver to the fans. I think honestly we have to give them, so then they can give us back.
We're rebuilding, which we said before. The club have rebuilt a new stadium, got that ready, so it'll take a little bit of time to get the team together, but overall I'm really pleased with how they're performing.
It's my life. My life is football. I go to sleep thinking about football. Now in my head is how can I make these players better? How can I improve them? If I improve the player, I improve the team will improve the club. So and this is how I take my life. Now is a new beginning for everybody. First of all, we have to realize who we are, and then we can create an identity. But first of all, we have to know each other really, really well.
Hello everybody, and so the latest new era starts with a Monday night schlep up to Liverpool, where we'll be hosted for the first time at their new Bramley Dock ground by Everton. Kick-off is at 8 p.m. with Sky covering proceedings for the purposes of televisual broadcast. So let's look at the Toffee men then. A bit of a mixed bag so far this season. They opened up with a 1-0 defeat away at Leeds before opening their account at their new gaff with a 2-0 win over Brighton. A trip to Molineux was rewarded with a 3-2 win against Wolves before a 0-0 home draw at Villa. Their last outing saw them go down 2-1 to Liverpool in the midst of some refereeing which was ludicrous even by Liverpool standards. All of that has left them in 10th position with 7 points from the 5 games they've played. Having finally sorted out the ownership saga, which lasted longer than a VAR review trying to deny a goal against Liverpool, they were able to do a bit of shopping in the closed season, having put their PSR issues behind them. Daisy tells me that Carlos Alcaraz's signing from Brazilian outfit Flamengo doesn't really count, as he arrived on loan last January, with £15 million being enough to make the deal permanent this time round. So the first proper arrival came in the form of striker Thierno Barry, who, despite his French nationality, has yet to play a first-team game in his native land. Instead, he's been moving about Europe a bit, in Belgium, Switzerland and latterly Spain, where he netted 11 times in 35 appearances for Villarreal. Capped at under-21 level by the French, he cost £27 million to bring over from Spain. 4 of his 5 league appearances for the Toffees have come from the bench this season, added to which he's got 2 League Cup starts, though he's yet to open his goal-scoring account. They brought in goalkeeping backup for Jordan Pickford in the form of Bournemouth custodian Mark Travers. Travers found himself warming the racing car seats for much of his time at Dean Court, to the extent that he spent most of the last couple of seasons out on loan. Presumably, the racing car seats at Bramley Dock are state-of-the-art with inbuilt heating then. Travers has 4 full caps for the Republic of Ireland, and as one might expect, his only starts this season have come in the League Cup. Spanish-Catalan-born Moroccan international defender Adam Aznou was next to arrive. A 19-year-old, he is yet to bother the first 11, but he's worth a mention if only for the fact that he started his career with a junior outfit in Catalonia called FC Dam, something that might well be a name for our lot. Bayern Munich was the source for the left-back, who cost £7.8 million or thereabouts, depending on where you buy your euros. £27 million was enough to free Kiernan Dewsbury Hall from Chelsea, where the player had spent a season, having followed Maresca down there from Leicester. Named after one of those stately homes that crop up from time to time in the writings of P.G. Wodehouse, probably, he has antecedents from the Republic of Ireland that would enable him to represent either England or Ireland. He's been told. His career to date has failed to see selectors from either nation tip him the wink. Although he featured heavily in Chelsea's European campaign last season, league appearances were more scarce for the midfielder, who was a product of Leicester's youth system, though that didn't stop him leaving once the Foxes went down. Actually, in truth, it was probably as good a deal for Leicester, who don't have an awful lot of cash to pay with these days. Tyler Dibbling is not one of those quaint villages in the Cotswolds, much beloved of lazy TV murder mystery programme producers. He's a winger for whom Everton paid £35 million, rising to £40 million if the Midsummer CID don't link him with the Vicar's murder first. His youth career took an interesting path, including as it did spells with no fewer than 3 different professional clubs: Exeter, Chelsea and Southampton. And at Southampton he had no fewer than 3 separate youth spells, suggesting that either they weren't sure about him or vice versa. By the time of their relegation, however, Southampton was sure enough to request a decent-sized fee for the 19-year-old, who's been capped at every England level up to under-21. They brought in a couple of loan signings. German under-21 international midfielder Merlin Roll will miss Monday night through injury. However, more significantly, Jack Grealish came in on loan from Man City. A player who falls into the talented pain-in-the-arse category. He will benefit from playing regularly in a big fish, small pond situation, rather than the bit part he was playing in a City side on the way down from their better days. He seems to have a big grin on his face when interviewed these days, though Thomas Tuchel is yet to be convinced of his merits over, say, Jordan Henderson, who would surely be most people's pick for an England place, if they were stupid. Next up, and we'll eschew the usual wide and wacky world of association football bit this week, given the events that happened at our place at the weekend. Now, nobody's ever accused Sullivan and Brady of ever behaving with class, but to let Mr. Potter go and bumble his way through Friday's press conference, whilst in another room somewhere else they were thrashing out the final details of Nuno Espirito Santo's contract, was a bit crass even for them. A little bit like sacking a manager after an away match and telling him he can't get on the team bus home, which was another one of their previous lows. That's not to say a change wasn't necessary, results simply weren't good enough. But if ever proof were needed that our owners have learnt nothing over the years, then add Potter's dismissal to the long list of misdemeanours to be laid at their door. One has to feel a bit sorry for Potter, whose best successes have come when working for a club with a clear and defined strategy relating to styles of play and recruitment. Now, if we've ever had such plans, Sullivan and Brady have kept them well hidden. And so, welcome Nuno Espirito Santo. It's going to be an interesting signing. He left Wolves amongst rumours of a disagreement with the club's owners over transfer policy. He left Forest after a fallout with a dodgy owner. So public, divorce lawyers were tuning into Sky Sports News every night with a bucket of popcorn to hear the latest shenanigans. And now he's got our lot to contend with. Still, those of us with older memories have already taken to referring to the new boss as a Paul Hilton manager deal. Hiltz was the central defender who played for Bury in the 10-0 League Cup slaughter back in the 80s. Something that persuaded John Lyall to go out and buy him. Why the comparison? Well, we've only won once this season, so we've brought in the manager of the team we've beaten. Still, to be fair, Hiltz was a good servant for the club, going on to be a coach. On the playing side, he was best remembered for a stormer he had in the 4-1 defeat of Chelsea that effectively kept us up in 1988. Mr. Espirito Santo's first job was to sort out our defence. Confidence is never good when you've got a goalkeeper flapping around behind you, and although Areola came in for the Palace game, the shakiness was there for all to see. Such is the mentality of the club at the moment, the chances of us coming back from a goal behind look fairly non-existent. Admittedly, we managed that against Palace, but then once we went 2-1 down following the accident-prone Mavropanos' fatal slip at the wrong moment, one look at the faces of the players told you all you needed to know about the likelihood of getting anything out of the game. Hopefully Saturday's first training session will have worked on those little things called corners, just as a starter. On the absence front, it remains to be seen whether Wan-Bissaka's abdominal injury would have improved with the departure of Potter. Souček, meanwhile, will have looked at any number of challenges that were made over the weekend and wonder why he's still got 2 matches left of a ban to serve when, for example, Chiesa became the 5th Liverpool player to avoid a red card this season. Other than that, the new boss has a full squad to choose from. So then, to the prediction. Other clubs have a new manager bounce. Take Leicester, who we played off the park at their place and still ended up on the wrong side of a referee-inspired defeat. However, that sort of thing never seems to happen to us. We lost Potter's first game, if I recall correctly. However, we ought, and I repeat ought, to be able to get something out of this. With that in mind, I will go for a draw. So, the £2.50 that I was going to spend on a copy of the Moody Blues classic single Go Now to send to DJ Russ to play before matches will instead be sent to Mr. Winston's Turf Accountancy app and wagered on a 1-1 draw. Enjoy the game.